chapter from Mickey and Minnie's Storybook Collection. Let's get started. Donald Duck and the Buried Treasure. One afternoon, Donald Duck and his nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, were taking a drive. Soon, they found themselves going through a small village near the water. Suddenly, Donald slammed on the brakes. "What's wrong, Uncle Donald?" asked the boys. Donald pointed to a sign by a shop. It said, "Genuine pirate maps, 25 cents. "Pirate treasure!" the boys yelled. "Yippee! Can we get a map, Uncle Donald? Please!" Donald went inside the shop and found the shopkeeper. "Are you looking for a treasure map?" the shopkeeper asked slyly. Donald nodded, and the man handed him a map. Then, because treasure hunters need things besides maps, the shopkeeper showed Donald a shovel, a pickaxe, a compass, ropes for hauling up the treasure, and sacks for carrying it at home. Last of all, he rented Donald the biggest boat at the dock. In no time, Donald and his nephews were rowing out to the island on the map. "Look for the forked tree. Take 10 paces north, then dig," Donald read. Donald and his nephews looked around for the tree. "There it is," Huey yelled. "Let's go!" At the tree, they took 10 paces north and began to dig. But there was no treasure. They dug 10 paces to the west and 10 to the east. But still, there was no treasure. Donald was furious. He threw down his shovel and glared at the treasure map. "This map is a fake," he shouted. "There is no treasure buried on this island. Phooey!" But his nephews had heard something. "Shh!" they whispered. "Don't shout, Uncle Donald. You'll scare the ghost away." Donald blinked. "What ghost?" he asked. Then Donald heard it too. Clank, clank, clank. "There's no such thing as a ghost," Donald said with his voice shaking. But his nephews weren't so sure. Slowly, they crept up a hill following the noise. The boys looked down and saw people digging all over the island. Each had a treasure map. "I knew it!" Donald yelled. "These maps are fakes. I guess the joke's on us. Okay, boys, let's go home." At the boat, Donald tried to pull up the anchor. He tugged and tugged, but it wouldn't budge. Finally, with one last pull, the anchor came out of the water, bringing it with a big iron chest. Donald lifted the pickaxe. "Stand back, kids," he cried with the first string. The old lock on the chest snapped. Donald slowly lifted the lid. Inside were hundreds and hundreds of gold and silver coins. "We found it!" the nephews shouted. "It's real pirate treasure! I knew we would find it!" Donald exclaimed. Donald quickly rowed back to the mainland. "Just 1 second, boys," he said as the nephews brought the chest to their car. "There's something I need to do." Donald walked into the store and dropped a gold coin into the shopkeeper's hand. "Thanks for the map," he said and walked back out. And the shopkeeper ran out. He had a shovel in one hand and a map in the other. "They are really genuine," he cried. And that's it for our story today. I hope you enjoyed it.